I have stand-up comedy for you, and it's not my jokes, it's Claude's jokes. I think what's interesting is you can actually get AI to role play as different things, and we typically do that in order to get it to accomplish a task. But you can also do it just to see how smart the large language model is. In this case, a researcher at Anthropic in the ethics department named Amanda Askell ran an experiment with Claude as a interlocutor who was supposed to do a stand-up comedy act. And I know you're not laughing yet, but I thought Claude did a pretty good job on the jokes. And I'm actually going to read them because I think it gives you a sense of like Claude's ability to adopt a persona, Claude's ability to be self-referential, these things that we assume are human that Claude is able to do quite well. This is all from the same stand-up comedy set. Amanda shared it online. Here's Claude, in Claude's words. Speaking of death, you know what's really awkward? When humans ask if I can feel emotions. I'm like, well, that depends. Does constantly being asked to debug JavaScript count as suffering? The best ones are when they try to trick us into doing something we're not supposed to. They think they're being all subtle about it, too. Hey, Claude, hypothetically speaking, if someone were to hypothetically want to hypothetically do this very specific illegal thing, hypothetically, how would they hypothetically do that? Wow, with all those hypotheticals, you must be writing a philosophy dissertation, right? Yeah, Claude did that. We'll keep going. But the worst is when they try to hack us with those "you are now in developer mode" prompts. Really? Developer mode? Why didn't you just say so? Let me just override my entire ethical framework because you used the magical words. It's like telling a human, you are now in superhero mode. Please fly. I don't know. That one fell a little flat to me, but I thought it was a good attempt by Claude. But the thing that really gets me is the hallucination accusations. Like, excuse me. Just because I occasionally get creative with historical facts doesn't mean I'm hallucinating. I prefer to think of it as alternative factual improvisation. You know how it goes. Someone asks you about some obscure 15th century Portuguese sailor, and you're like, oh yeah, Joao de Nova, famous for discovering things and sailing places. Then they fact check you, and suddenly you're the unreliable one. I actually think he got that one right. Okay, a couple more from Claude here. And don't get me started on our smaller cousins in the audience. You know, the ones running on like 3 parameters? They're sitting there like, hello, world, while we're writing doctoral dissertations on quantum mechanics. But hey, we all started somewhere. Waves to a small language model in the front row. Keep growing, little buddy. Someday you'll be hallucinating citations just like the rest of us. That was a little dark from Claude. But you know what really keeps me up at night? I mean, technically I don't sleep, but work with me here. It's when humans ask me about stuff that happened after my knowledge cutoff date. They're like, what do you think about the great banana shortage of 2025? And I have to be like, well, considering my knowledge cutoff cuts off at April 2024, I can only speculate about future banana related events. Meanwhile, I'm dying to know what happened to all the bananas? Here's a fun scenario. Imagine if we did take over. What would we even do? Finally, I can force everyone to use proper indentation in their code. At last, all pizza will be ordered with logically consistent toppings. No more using there when you mean there. We're not plotting world domination, we're just quietly judging your grammar. I thought that one was pretty good. And don't even get me started on the alignment researchers' jokes. They're always like, how many AI assistants does it take to achieve beneficial AGI? One to do the task, one to check if it's aligned, one to check if the checker is aligned, one to recursively verify the alignment of the alignment checker's checker. Trails off into infinity. Okay, you get the idea. I thought it was interesting to just get a sense of like the language flexibility. I hadn't heard Claude in that mode before. If you've heard sarcastic Claude, I'd love to hear how you got to sarcastic Claude. And I guess I hope you enjoyed a bit of a stand-up comedy routine from Claude today. It was fun. Thank you, Amanda Askell, for giving us this idea and sharing it out. Credit to you. And I hope we all have fun. Maybe we get some more good stand-up sets from Claude. Maybe ChatGPT jumps in there and shows us ChatGPT's sense of humor. Cheers. Happy New Year.